10 situations showing Libra is stronger than before. There is a moment that arrives quietly for every Libra. A moment when you realize you are no longer bending to keep others comfortable. You may not have noticed it at first, because strength in your sign does not announce itself with noise or drama. It arrives like a shift in the wind, gentle but unmistakable. And if you are watching this right now, it is likely because something inside you already knows. You have changed. You are not the same person you were a year ago, or 5 years ago, or even 6 months ago. The situations that once shook you no longer carry the same weight. The people who once controlled your peace no longer hold that power. And the version of you that used to shrink to make others feel tall, that version is fading. Not because you became cold or careless, but because you finally started to understand that your warmth does not require your suffering. This is what real strength looks like for Libra, and today we are going to walk through 10 situations that prove you are stronger than you have ever been. Strength 1. The first situation that reveals your new strength is the way you handle disagreement now. There was a time, not so long ago, when the mere hint of conflict would send you into a spiral of anxiety. You would rehearse conversations in your head, trying to find the words that would keep everyone happy, even if it meant abandoning your own truth. You would smile through discomfort, nod through frustration, and walk away feeling hollow because you had once again chosen peace at the cost of your own voice. But something shifted. Maybe it was a conversation that went too far. Maybe it was a moment when someone crossed a line and you realized that your silence was not keeping the peace. It was keeping you trapped. Whatever triggered it, you began to speak. Not with anger, not with cruelty, but with a quiet firmness that surprised even you. You started saying things like, "I understand your perspective, but I see it differently." You started holding your ground without apologizing for having ground to hold. And here is what you discovered. The world did not collapse. The people who truly loved you did not leave. Some relationships shifted, yes, and some people pulled away because they were not prepared for a Libra who would not bend. But the ones who stayed, they respected you more. They listened more carefully. They stopped assuming you would always be the one to compromise. This is not a small thing. For a sign that has spent a lifetime seeking harmony, the ability to sit inside discomfort and still choose honesty is a profound transformation. You did not become combative. You became authentic. And that is a kind of strength that most people never develop because most people never have to fight as hard as you did just to believe their own voice matters. Strength 2. The second situation is how you respond to guilt now. Guilt used to be the invisible chain that kept you locked into patterns that drained you. Someone would express disappointment, and you would immediately feel responsible, even when you had done nothing wrong. You carried the emotional weight of entire rooms, entire families, entire friendships, not because anyone asked you to, but because you believed that was your role. If someone was unhappy near you, it meant you had failed somehow. If a relationship was struggling, it must have been something you did or did not do. This guilt was not rational, but it was powerful, and it shaped your decisions for years. You stayed in situations that hurt you because leaving felt like betrayal. You gave more than you had because saying no felt like cruelty. You put yourself last so consistently that you forgot what it felt like to be a priority in your own life. But now something is different. You have started to recognize the difference between genuine responsibility and manufactured guilt. You have started to see that some people use your compassion as a tool, not because they are necessarily evil, but because they learned that your guilt is the fastest way to get what they want. And instead of reacting with shame, you are responding with clarity. You are asking yourself, did I actually do something wrong? Or am I just uncomfortable with someone else's discomfort? That question alone is revolutionary for a Libra. It means you have stopped automatically absorbing every negative emotion in the room. It means you have started to trust your own perception instead of defaulting to the assumption that you are always the one who needs to change. Strength 3. The third situation is the way you have started to protect your energy. For most of your life, you were available. Available to listen, available to help, available to solve, available to comfort. Your phone was always on, your door was always open, and your heart was always extended to anyone who needed it. And for a long time that felt like a virtue. It felt like proof that you were a good person, a loving person, a person who cared deeply about the well-being of others. But somewhere along the way, you started to notice something troubling. The more you gave, the less you had. Not just emotionally, but physically. You were tired in ways that sleep could not fix. You were drained in ways that weekends could not restore. You were running on empty, and yet people kept asking for more because they had been trained to believe that you were an endless resource. The shift happened when you started saying, "Not right now. Not forever, not never. Just not right now." You started turning off your phone in the evenings. You started declining invitations that felt like obligations rather than joys. You started choosing rest over guilt, silence over noise, solitude over performance. And the reaction from others was mixed. Some people understood. They saw that you were not abandoning them but rather preserving yourself so that you could continue to show up in a meaningful way. But others took it personally. They accused you of changing, of being selfish, of not caring anymore. And here is where your strength became undeniable, because instead of crumbling under that pressure, you held your boundary. You did not explain yourself to death. You did not justify your need for rest. You simply honored it, and you let the consequences be what they were going to be. That is strength that took years to build, and you should never underestimate how far you have come. Strength 4. The fourth situation is the way you have learned to sit with uncertainty. Libra craves balance, resolution, closure. You want to know where you stand, what people think of you, and how things are going to turn out. Ambiguity has always felt like a threat, because in the absence of clarity, your mind fills the gap with worry. But life has taught you something important. Not everything resolves on your timeline. Not every question gets an answer. Not every relationship reaches a clean conclusion. And instead of being destroyed by that truth, you have started to make peace with it. You have learned to wake up without knowing exactly what the day will bring and still move forward. You have learned to hold space for unanswered questions without letting them consume your entire being. You have learned that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is simply continue, even when you do not have all the information you wish you had. This is not the same as giving up or not caring. It is the opposite. It is choosing to trust the process even when the process feels slow or unclear. It is choosing to believe that your life is unfolding in a way that serves you, even when the evidence is not yet visible. For someone who has spent a lifetime trying to control outcomes through careful analysis and deliberate choices, this surrender is not weakness. It is the deepest form of strength you have ever practiced. And you are getting better at it every single day. If what you're hearing feels accurate, imagine what could happen if you applied this energy intentionally for 21 consecutive days. That's exactly what the 21-day program in the pinned comment is built for. Daily guidance, focused direction, and real momentum. If you're tired of staying in the same cycle, this is your structure. Strength 5. The fifth situation is how you deal with people who do not change. You have always believed in potential. You see the best in people, sometimes long before they see it in themselves, and sometimes long after everyone else has stopped looking. This is one of your most beautiful qualities, but it has also been one of your most painful ones, because it has kept you attached to people who were not willing to grow. You waited for partners to become what they promised. You waited for friends to show up the way you always showed up for them. You waited for family members to acknowledge the hurt they caused, to apologize, to do better. And the waiting was exhausting. But now, something has shifted in how you approach this. You have not lost your ability to see potential, but you have gained the wisdom to recognize the difference between potential and probability. You understand now that just because someone could change does not mean they will. And you have stopped sacrificing your present for someone else's hypothetical future. This does not mean you have become cynical. It means you have become realistic. You still love deeply, you still care profoundly, but you no longer pour your energy into people who have shown you repeatedly that they are not interested in meeting you where you are. You have learned that walking away from someone who refuses to grow is not giving up on them. It is choosing yourself. And for a Libra, choosing yourself has always been the hardest battle. Strength 6. The sixth situation is the way you have stopped performing happiness. There was a version of you that smiled through pain because you did not want to burden others. There was a version of you that said, "I'm fine," so often that the words lost all meaning. There was a version of you that showed up to gatherings and laughed and socialized and pretended that everything was wonderful, even when you were falling apart on the inside. That performance was exhausting, but it felt necessary, because you believed that your value to others was tied to your ability to be pleasant, agreeable, and easy to be around. If you were struggling, you feared that people would see you as a burden. If you were sad, you worried that people would grow tired of you. If you were angry, you were terrified that people would leave. So you performed. You wore the mask of the balanced, easygoing, graceful Libra, and you wore it so well that most people never suspected it was a mask at all. But the performance is ending now. Not because you have become reckless with your emotions, but because you have realized that authenticity is more important than approval. You have started to let people see you as you are. Messy, complicated, sometimes uncertain, sometimes frustrated, sometimes deeply sad. And the freedom that comes with that honesty is unlike anything you have experienced before. You are discovering that the people who love you do not need you to be perfect. They need you to be real. And being real, after a lifetime of performing, takes a kind of courage that most people will never understand. Strength 7. The seventh situation is how you have redefined what balance means. For years, you thought balance meant giving equally to everyone, dividing your time and energy into perfect portions so that no one felt neglected. But that definition was killing you because it left no room for you. You were the scale, but you were never on it. You were the one measuring, adjusting, recalibrating, always making sure others were satisfied, always making sure the equation was fair for everyone except yourself. The new definition of balance is different. Starts with you. It means making sure you are stable before you try to stabilize anyone else. It means recognizing that some relationships require more from you than they return, and that does not make them wrong, but it does make them unequal, and you are allowed to acknowledge that. It means understanding that saying no to one thing is saying yes to something else, and that something else might be your own well-being, your own growth, your own peace. This redefinition did not happen overnight. It came through years of exhaustion, through seasons of burnout, through moments when you looked in the mirror and barely recognized the person staring back. But it happened. And now, when you think about balance, the first question you ask is not, "Is everyone else okay?" The first question you ask is, "Am I okay?" That shift may seem small from the outside, but from the inside, it is everything. It is the foundation of every other strength you have built, and it is the reason you will continue to grow in ways that surprise even you. Some people watch, others transform. If you want to be in the second group, the 21-day guide in the pinned comment gives you a clear step-by-step process aligned with your sign. This isn't about waiting, it's about moving. Strength 8. The eighth situation is the way you handle loneliness now. Libra is a sign that thrives in connection. You were designed for partnership, for collaboration, for the beautiful dance of two souls meeting and understanding. And because of that, loneliness has always felt like a failure to you. If you were alone, something must be wrong. If you were not in a relationship, you must be doing something incorrectly. If your social circle was small, you must be lacking in some fundamental way. But something has changed in how you experience solitude. You have started to see it not as an absence but as a presence. A presence of yourself, your thoughts, your desires, your creativity, your peace. You have discovered that being alone does not mean being lonely, and that sometimes the most nourishing company you can keep is your own. You sit with yourself now in ways you never could before. You take walks without needing to call someone. You eat meals without needing to fill the silence with conversation. You spend evenings without needing to scroll through messages just to feel connected. And in that solitude, you have found something remarkable. You have found that you are enough. Not enough for someone else, not enough by someone else's standards, but enough by your own. Enough to fill a room, enough to hold a conversation, enough to create joy without needing an audience. This is perhaps the most radical strength a Libra can develop, because it goes against every instinct that your sign was born with. And yet here you are, comfortable in your own company, at peace with your own presence, and stronger because of it. Strength 9. The ninth situation is how you have started to trust your own decisions. Decision-making has always been the great challenge of your sign. Not because you lack intelligence or wisdom, but because you see every side of every situation with such clarity that choosing one path feels like betraying all the others. You have spent hours, days, sometimes weeks agonizing over choices that others make in minutes. You have asked for opinions, sought advice, weighed every possible outcome, and still felt uncertain after making your decision. The fear was not really about making the wrong choice. The fear was about disappointing someone, about missing something, about closing a door that you might someday wish you had walked through. But you have grown beyond that paralysis. You have started making decisions more quickly, not because you care less, but because you trust yourself more. You have realized that there is no perfect choice, only the choice you make and the life you build around it. You have started to accept that every decision carries some loss, some risk, some uncertainty, and that is not a reason to avoid deciding. It is simply a part of being human. The confidence you are building in your own judgment is not loud or flashy. It is quiet and steady, like a river that has finally found its course. You still consider other perspectives because that is part of who you are, but you no longer need external validation to move forward. You decide, you act, and you trust that whatever comes next, you will be capable of handling it. That trust, that quiet, unshakable trust in yourself, is the strongest thing you have ever built. Strength 10. The 10th and final situation is the way you have stopped apologizing for who you are. You have spent so much of your life adjusting, softening, dimming, reshaping yourself to fit into spaces that were never designed for you. You apologize for having needs. You apologize for taking up space. You apologize for feeling too much, for wanting too much, for being too much. And every apology was a small act of erasure, a tiny surrender of the person you were always meant to be. But that era is ending. You are stepping into a version of yourself that does not require permission to exist. You are learning that your sensitivity is not a weakness but a superpower. You are discovering that your desire for beauty, harmony, and meaning is not naive but revolutionary. You are understanding that the very qualities you were taught to hide, your depth, your complexity, your refusal to accept a world that is less than what it could be, those are the qualities that make you extraordinary. This does not mean you have become arrogant or closed off to feedback. It means you have developed the ability to distinguish between constructive growth and unnecessary diminishment. When someone offers you genuine insight, you receive it with grace. But when someone tries to make you feel small for being who you are, you no longer absorb that message. You let it pass through you like wine through an open window. You stand in your truth not because you think you are perfect, but because you know you are worthy. And that knowledge, Libra, that deep, unshakable knowledge of your own worth, is the ultimate proof that you are stronger than you have ever been before. And so here we are, at the end of this journey through 10 situations that reveal just how much you have grown. Maybe you recognized yourself in every single one, or maybe only a few resonated deeply. Either way, the fact that you are here, listening, reflecting, considering what comes next, that tells me everything I need to know about where you are headed. You are not the same Libra who once bent to every breeze. You are rooted now, grounded in a way that does not sacrifice your grace but rather enhances it. You have learned that strength and softness are not opposites. They are partners, and you have mastered the art of holding both. The path ahead is not without challenges, because no path ever is, but you are meeting those challenges from a place of wholeness, rather than a place of depletion. You are making choices based on what you need rather than what others expect. You are building a life that reflects your values rather than your fears. And that transformation, that quiet, powerful, undeniable transformation, is something no one can take from you. It is yours. It has always been yours. And the world is finally beginning to see what you have always been capable of becoming. You have two options after this video: close it and hope things shift, or decide that the next 21 days will be different. If you choose the second, the structured 21-day transformation aligned with your sign is waiting in the pinned comment. The energy is already moving, the only question is whether you are.